Hello, welcome to Spirit Connections with Tiffany Rice. We are back and I have my little friend Chloe with me. I'm so happy to be doing Spirit Connections once again. I thought I would spice it up a little bit and turn the tables around on myself. The reason being is because I get asked frequently what it is that I do, who am I, and all of that jazz. So what I wanted to do was invite one of my very special friends, Cody Ray Desbiens, on.
Hello.
He has formulated some questions to actually ask me, so hopefully that answers some of your questions as well. So I'm actually going to be the interviewee.
Right.
Instead of the interviewer. So I don't know what these questions are. It could be anything. I'm a little nervous, but I'm really excited to hear what you have to say.
I've taken over Spirit Connections for the evening.
All right. Ready, Chloe? Are we ready to answer some questions? All right. We're ready.
All right. So first off, I want to take it back to when you were a kid. I want to know, is this gift, being a spirit medium, is this something that you were born with?
Well, we're all born with being intuitive. It's just everybody works on a different level of being intuitive. So it's like playing soccer. I love using this analogy. When you play soccer, everybody can usually play soccer, but there's some that are just going to be more athletic than others,
right.
Just naturally born that way. And I think that pertains to being intuitive as well. We have a different set of sensitivity, and I think for myself it's really easy for me to hone in on my intuitiveness, where it might take you a little bit longer, but we're all capable of doing it.
Right. So I've heard often from other people who have abilities and stuff that they started out knowing when things were going to happen, looking at the clock at a certain time. Is that something that happened with you too?
All the time. I can remember in high school, my boyfriend at the time, I'd sit and watch his baseball games, and I knew, okay, he's going to get a home run. He's going to hit a home run. And he would. He would. I can remember talking to people, and during a conversation, I'd start visioning someone behind them or seeing things, and I'd think to myself, okay, Tiff, just stay focused, stay focused. But what was actually happening was I was allowing myself to have these certain connections with certain spirits that have passed. I just, at that particular time in my life, I wasn't aware of what it was actually going on. I just thought I had a bad case of ADD.
Right. So what was the point where you put two and two together and you knew something was going on and you were able to make it full circle?
I ended up taking a class, and in the class I was able to, with the certain tools that were being provided with me, I was able to clarify exactly what it was that was going on. And once I did put two and two together, it was just something that was like, all right, here we are. This is what it is. And that's when I really started to hone in on my ability.
Now, connecting this with the paranormal, you work in the paranormal field a lot.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Did you have a paranormal experience that made you interested in that part of the field? Because when you think of spirit mediums, usually paranormal fits in with that
right.
Often, on most occasions. So how did you get connected to the paranormal?
Well, actually it was just something that I've always been into, even growing up, being connected to the Ouija board. And I wasn't a huge fan of scary movies. I always slept with the lights on. I was always scared of the dark. But I can remember just knowing, always having that sense of knowing that there was more out there, constantly getting my tarot cards read. I'd rather go get my cards read when I was a teenager than go to a party. That's just kind of how things played out for me. So as far as tying everything into the paranormal, it wasn't until, I think it was around 2008, I had a group of friends that they were actually into doing ghost investigations and so forth. And so I went with them on a few, and I explained to them what it was that I did. So I was their medium. I was the one that kind of put the emotional side into what they were going for, which was the scientific method type of hard evidence. So I was able to collaborate with them, and it was something that I really enjoyed. And through doing that, I ended up becoming friends with a lot of people in the paranormal, and it kind of just started to take off from there.
Right. So when you're working in the paranormal, I'm sure it's different than doing private readings and stuff. When you're doing private readings, I'm sure you connected one-on-one with the person, and you have a little bit of a sense of what's going to happen. You're going to connect with somebody who has passed that has meant a lot to that person. Now, when you're in the paranormal doing this, how does that differ? Because you're walking into a place pretty much blind, not knowing what's going on, the history of the place. So how do your feelings differ from a private reading and going into a location, not knowing anything?
The feelings with doing a private reading, every one of my clients comes to me, and they ask if I can give them a private reading. So usually in my office, in a safe place, a place that I'm familiar with, and they want to connect with their loved one in spirit, whether it's a friend, family member, or maybe a pet that had passed. That's what they want to connect with. When I work with paranormal teams, I go into an undisclosed location, a location that I don't know anything about, and I do, for me, I always protect myself with a white light and affirmation and so forth before I go in. But I really don't know the history of the place. I don't know if there is anything there that's paranormal. Of course, most locations hold on to energy, so you will be able to pick things up. But where I give a reading to someone, it's more so the straight-on messages for that loved one, and it's to provide healing and comfort. Whereas doing a paranormal investigation, it's pretty much putting the emotional side, but it may be the emotional side attachment with the facility itself for the paranormal investigator. So it might just be a little bit of a different type of emotion there, if that makes sense.
No, it's understandable. And you touched real quick on connecting yourself with the white light and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Do you feel like that should be a priority with every group when you're entering a location, not knowing anything about it?
I definitely think you should. I mean, for me, I do white light. I line my chakras. I do some affirmations. I protect myself with a white light. I feel everybody should do something that is good for them. So whether it's prayer or whether it's setting your intentions for your highest and greatest good, because when you put yourself out there, especially if you're looking to connect, you can connect with anything, good and bad.
Right.
You know, so you always want to put your best foot out there and protect yourself.
Right. And, you know, it's mistaken a lot of times, like you mentioned with Ouija boards and stuff, it's mistaken that, you know, Ouija boards are this bad piece of cardboard, essentially. And it's the same exact thing when you're going into a location and start asking questions with your recorder, because you're opening yourself up. It's both situations, no matter if you're using a piece of physical games to do it, or just saying it out loud, you're still opening yourself up to good and bad.
Absolutely.
So, being a medium and doing all these different things, both paranormal and private readings, gallery readings, has there been an experience that has made you look at life in a totally different way?
Yes, when I was younger, I used to always think, oh, my dad's going to be there to walk me down the aisle. You know, I'm going to grow up, I'm going to get married, I'm going to have kids. And how my life actually turned out is my father passed away at 21. He wasn't there to walk me down the aisle. You know, I never thought in a million years that would have happened. And the people that I come in contact with, they come to me and I hear their stories, and some of their stories are just so heart-wrenching in the sense of, yep, you learn that you can't take anything for granted. And if you want to say something to someone, say something to someone. Do things now. Enjoy your life now, because there is no guarantee that tomorrow will ever come. And that might sound sad, but that's unfortunately, from my personal experiences, that is something that could be a possibility. So you always want to make the best of every day.
Right. It's the truth. That's reality, and a lot of people just don't realize that, unfortunately, until something happens and it's too late. So that message is a great one. So when you connect with a spirit, you know, you see on TV a lot, and a lot of people don't really get to meet and connect with a genuine spirit medium in person. And when they're flipping through the channels on their TV, they come across you know, different mediums on TV shows. And what's common that I see mostly is these mediums will be walking down the road, walk into a store, and just start talking to somebody, saying that they're getting a spirit coming through, and they have to walk over to this person right now and give them their message. Does that really happen?
You know, I always say, and everybody is different, but I'll speak for myself. So I always say that, you know, Could that happen? Absolutely. If I left myself on all the time, but I have that imaginary light switch where it's, when I'm doing a reading, turn on. When I'm not doing a reading, turn off. Because it takes a lot of energy. And not only that, but you want to keep you have to be aware of the person that you are going to give a reading to. Not everybody wants a reading. Not everybody believes in what we do. So you have to be careful and cautious. And I would always say just keep a business professional attitude toward things. Because even though you might have a loved one coming through, you don't know how or what stage of grief the person that you're about to go up and tell them the information, you don't know where they are in that grief process.
Right.
So would I recommend other mediums to do that? It's their call. I personally that might not be the avenue for me.
Right. So when you're having a connection with a spirit, what do you see? What do you hear? I'm sure a lot of people wonder that.
The best way I can describe it is, okay, so Cody, what did you wear yesterday?
I wore a Red Sox shirt.
Okay. How did you get that information?
I remembered it.
Absolutely. So when you remember, a lot of times it's like a picture in your head, right?
Right.
So that's the best way I can describe it. But for me, I get memories, but it's not my memories. It's not my pictures. And they fly by so quick. So I do my best to try to explain it and be as detailed as I possibly can. So it's the picture in my mind. I also sometimes I hear it. And since I am a foodie, I'm a self-acclaimed foodie, a lot of times I'll smell food. They'll show me food. Yeah, especially if I'm hungry and I'm doing a reading, they'll show me food. So for me, that's kind of how it works.
Now, I've also heard of mediums getting like signs, like for example, they'll see a rose and it'll mean that they were married to somebody.
Right.
Do you get those signs?
I think every medium has different signs that pertain to certain things. For me, the male and female side. So if I was giving you a reading, if I felt pulled over onto my right side, that for me would signify female. If I was pulled over to your left side, that would signify to be male. But if you go talk to another medium, they could have something completely different than what I have. But it just so happens to be that that's something that works for me. And it's just always seemed to be something that was consistent, so I stuck with it. So. Okay.
Now, when you're doing these gallery readings, which I've been to, and they're absolutely amazing. If you haven't been to one, you need to go to one. It's basically Tiffany's in a theater or a big room, and there's, you know, hundreds of people sometimes in this room just sitting down, and randomly Tiffany will walk up to a person and just start reading them. Sometimes I've seen people who don't really believe in this stuff, and it changes their mind instantly because she says something that connects them that nobody else would know. It's really amazing. You would have to see it in person. So when you're doing that type of thing, how do you know which direction to go, which person to walk up to? Does the spirit tell you to go to, you know, the guy in the third row, 4 seats in?
Well, I go with my gut. I really listen to my gut, and it's not 100% right all the time, especially if it's a large gallery reading. But I'll go in the general direction of the person, and I usually stand within that person to. My fire's caught on me. Sorry. Thank you. But it's usually in that general direction. So if someone's over on my right-hand side, or I feel I need to go over to my right-hand side, I'll go over. I might stand in the middle of 2 people, but then I get pulled over in the right direction. And that's just learning to just really trust your gut and go with what you feel is right.
Now, when you're doing these gallery readings, is there information that you say that may make sense some other time, or some things that haven't happened yet?
Yes, because they don't have the same frequency as time. There is no frequency of time where they are. And that's what I like to believe anyways. So a lot of times in the readings, if it doesn't make sense, I always tell people, hold on to it, write it down, write it down. I always tell this story. I was giving someone a reading. I was bringing her father through in spirit, and he kept on showing me a peacock. And I said, your dad showed me a peacock. And right away she goes, nope, that's not him. And I said, okay. But throughout the reading, he kept on showing me the peacock. So I said, well, he keeps on showing me the peacock. And she goes, I don't know. I said, well, just write it down. Well, a week later, she ended up contacting me, and she goes, I just want to let you know, I checked with my aunt, and my dad had a pet peacock. So, and that was when he was little. So the moral of the story is sometimes when I provide you information, that might not be in the forefront of your mind. So it may not register at that moment. Or, so I encourage you to write it down. Or sometimes there are things that, and I'm really good with the pregnancy and fertility, guys. So, especially with fertility, one of my friends, I said, oh, well, you're going to be pregnant again. She goes, no, I'm not. I go, no, you will, because I'm seeing 5 and 2. So I feel like your daughter and your baby are going to be 7 years apart. And she goes, nope, it's not going to happen. Well, sure enough, she had another one, and they were 7 years apart. So a lot of times, and that was something that was, you know, a year or two beforehand. So it is something that I always say, hold on to. I'm not here to convince you. I'm not going to tell you that I'm 100% correct. But at the same time, if you just take it into consideration, if you do write it down, a lot of times it will make sense. You just have to give it a chance and start listening to yourself. That's all.
Right. So there are good people and there are bad people in this world. Some people have good personalities, some people have bad personalities. And has there ever been a time when you've been doing a reading where somebody who just doesn't want to communicate, just doesn't want to cooperate and try talking to somebody comes through? What do you do?
Well, that has happened before, where it's almost been somewhat awkward, where I've been doing a gallery reading and I said, oh, your dad's coming through. Nope, I don't want to talk to him. Well, I always say I have no control of who comes through or for how long. It's usually the people, if they're feisty here, they're going to be feisty where they are. If they're going to be boisterous here, they're going to be boisterous where they are. So I will always say the common denominator for any reading, it's always messages that you need to hear, not necessarily information that you want to hear. I've had, for instance, in that particular case when I said her father came through, there was a lot of information that her father wanted to come through and say and almost apologize for and say, hey, I understand now. But at that particular moment, the person I was reading wasn't ready to accept that. So instead of saying she wasn't ready to accept it, she's, nope, I don't want to hear from him. I don't want to hear from him. So I gave her a little bit of the information, and then I did move on from her because I didn't want her. I'm not going to force anybody to listen if they don't want to listen.
Right.
So.
Now, one thing I want to make clear, I want to have you make clear, is a lot of people get spirit medium and psychic confused.
Right.
Because they are two different things. Do you want to explain what the difference is?
Well, spirit medium is someone who communicates with people that have passed, whereas psychic operates more so on intuitive. Now, spirit medium, sorry, my dog wants to wear my scarf. Spirit medium is also intuitive as well. That's why you get the phrase psychic medium, because you have this psychic ability, but you also do the medium work as well. Whereas just psychic, psychic is someone, like I mentioned, is just more so for the intuitive part.
All right.
Not so much connecting with those that have passed.
So has there been this time where you've been into either a house party, a gallery reading, and the most memorable experience happened? One of your favorite either communications with.
Well, it's funny. I feel like I have so many to talk about that, but there's some where it's just, it amazes me how crystal clear they come through.
Right.
You know, one that stands out in my mind. I was giving this woman a reading, and I was showing, her father in spirit was showing me all this artwork that she was doing, and he just kept on saying, tell her the golden ticket, and I kept on seeing Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And I said, he keeps on telling me to tell you the golden ticket in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And she said, oh my gosh, she goes, she had just hung up a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory mural in her kitchen.
Wow.
She was just redoing. So that was something that was just, wow. And of course, I love Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So it was something that I just remembered. And I'm like, that's just, it's so interesting to me that Spirit will provide you information of them saying, even though I'm not here physically, I'm still here. I still know what's going on. You know, and that's something that does provide comfort for people. I'm not a therapist. I can't fix everyone's struggle, but if I can provide them comfort, that's what I try to do.
That's amazing. It must be an amazing feeling to be able to provide that for somebody and help them out in a way that most people can't.
Exactly.
So one of the last things I want to talk about is this show. How did this all begin? It's been, what, like 4 years now?
Yeah, you know, I think it is, yeah, it's been 4 years. It's been 4 years. I started it April 26, 2011 in my old apartment, and I used to joke around and call it Studio 807. That was my address. So I started it in my old apartment. Tim Weisberg had contacted me and wanted to know if I wanted to do a show such as this, and so I ended up doing it, and I did this out of my apartment weekly for about 6 months, and then I ended up moving it on over here to the studios, and it's been going ever since. We've had some changes. We've had, you know, people come and go. We've had, the show was 60 minutes. Now it's a pre-recorded 30 minutes, just because it's actually something that's really good. Everything as far as my career goes, since I've been doing my mediumship full time, I have been taking on a lot of clientele and been traveling so much. So it works best if we do the pre-recordings, and that way everybody wins. Everybody can still watch Spirit Connections with Tiffany Rice, and I can go and provide my service that I love to provide to people, and it works out. So I'm still broadening the minds of the viewers, and still doing what I love to do.
Right, and,
so finding the balance.
That's really great. Not too many people can keep a show going for that long, which is good, and keep the guests coming and interesting and new all the time, which is great. Like you said, there have been a lot of changes, and one of the changes has been you starting to do your medium work full time, which is great. I congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
Leaving a career that you've had to do something totally new and take that risk and just go out there, and it's been doing great for you. You have your own office now, and you're always busy, which is great. So how would people, if they want a private reading, if they want to book a house party at their house and have friends over for a reading, or how would they find information to go to a gallery reading?
Well, I have a free newsletter that you can sign up for, which is going to my Facebook page, Spirit Medium Tiffany. I also have a website, tiffanyrice.com. Spirit Tiff is where I post things on Instagram and Twitter, and that's where you can find all my information of the events that I'll be doing. Also, I have a line of We're Never Truly Alone apparel, which consists of dog tags and t-shirts and candles and all of that good stuff. So you can find that as well on any one of those social media avenues. But I still offer the private readings. I love it. I have my offices in Pembroke, Massachusetts, and I offer phone readings. So I can do the private readings, I can do the house gallery readings, the larger gallery readings, fundraising events, and so forth. I also teach the meditation classes, intuitive classes, and I am a Reiki master. So I try to stay busy with bringing more guests onto the show, because I do love doing this, and I'm so glad that I am able to continuously do this. Maybe not at the same capacity, but I'm still doing it. So that's how you can get in touch with me. That's a little bit of what I do, and yeah, I'm gonna just keep on going.
That's great. You definitely should check her out. Go to the website, look her up, look at what event she's going to be at least go over and meet her and say hello, and grab one of her business cards. One thing you mentioned real quick was phone readings. Mm-hmm. Now, some people may think, how does that work? I thought you had to be there in person with you to have a reading. A
lot of people do. No, I enjoy actually doing the phone readings because I can connect with people all over the country. So it's definitely, if you want to inquire about that, if you go to my website, or you can go to my email, which is spiritmediumtiff@gmail.com, you can find information there, because I do have availability, especially during the week. And if not, I'm doing an event at Ocean State Paracon in Rhode Island coming up in July, and I'll be doing a gallery reading there, and that's to help the Wounded Warrior Project. So if you guys just stay informed and keep watching, you know you're going to hear it.
So, do you have anything coming up that you can name off the top of your head besides Ocean State? Are you going to any events? Do you have any public events going on?
Well, yeah, I mean, I will be traveling a lot. My classes I teach by demand, so if you guys are interested in taking a class, please inquire about it, and we can definitely set something up. And again, Ocean State Paracon I have coming up. I'm going to be at Hartford Comic Con. I'm also going to be at Rhode Island Comic Con. So if you just stay in the loop, I would love to be able to tell you all of that stuff.
Well, I'd like to thank you for letting me take over the show for tonight.
Yay!
It's been great.
Night off.
I know that's probably great for you since you're really busy. But I hope everybody out there got to learn something that they didn't know, maybe were a little confused about. Hopefully it's all straightened out now, and you know a little bit more about your host.
Thank you, and thank you so much, Cody. And again, I feel like it's funny that you're interviewing me, but at the same time, I get so many questions, and it's from you guys, and I want to be able to provide for you. So thank you. Thank you. You did an awesome job. You're welcome back anytime. If you want to come back whenever I come back, that would be awesome. So
thank you.
Thanks, Cody. And do you have anything coming up for yourself?
Well, I'll be at Ocean State Paracon in July, hosted by Rise Up. Facebook's the place to go to find out all the information. Have great speakers coming up. Andrea Perrin, John Zaffis, George Lopez, Dustin Parry's going to be there. Shannon Sylvia, both from Ghost Hunters International. Just a bunch of great people. Joe Chin, TAP's home team is going to be there. All different paranormal groups from around New England. Some people coming up from different states, like the Gettysburg Ghost Gals from Pennsylvania.
Wow, yep.
All great people. They're going to be selling books. There's going to be vendors there, all different things. And Tiffany's going to be there doing a big gallery reading. So if you want to find out what that's like, that's the perfect place to do it, right in Harrisville, Rhode Island, close by. If you live in the Massachusetts area, Rhode Island, New England area. It's going to be a really good event, and like Tiffany said, all the money goes to the Wounded Warrior Project, which is good to have everybody come together and to donate to something that's really great, and that affects pretty much everybody today. So that's the big thing coming up, and
awesome.
I'll see you there.
All right. Well, for those of you guys that are home, thank you again, and until next time, we will see you soon.
Greetings and salutations. A very happy new year to you. Welcome to the Ghosts Are Near show, where we discuss and actively explore paranormal phenomena. I am your host, Keith Johnson, the founder of New England Anomalies Research, along with my dear wife, Sandra, who is in the control group this evening, so she's working behind the scenes. Yeah. But I want to welcome you all here, and studio audience, thank you for being here. And we have some fabulous guests, some old friends many of you are familiar with. We have Ken DaCosta, the founder of Rise Up Paranormal, and Cody Ray Desbiens, or Desbiens if you want to be correct, and also a member of Rise Up Paranormal. And both of you also are members of the Atlantic Paranormal Society's home team.
That's correct.
A lot of people don't realize that they do have a home team, but
they certainly do.
Glad to have you.
It's a pleasure to be back. Thank you for having us.
Glad to have you here, Cody.
Pleasure.
And I must say, these are wonderful, wonderful people just to know personally. I'm very honored to call them friends, and very, very active in the investigation department. So how long have you had your Rise Up Paranormal group there, Ken?
It's funny because actually we're going to be celebrating our 10th anniversary next month.
Great.
We've
Congratulations.
Been together. Thank you very much. When we got this off the ground in 2007, we didn't know where the path was going to lead and everything like that, but here we are 10 years later, and we've made some additions to the group, and I'm happy to say that in a day where people kind of come and go, we've sort of managed to maintain the core people that have been part of this, which is great because we've established relationships with each other, and when we go through the investigation process, it's you know, a lot of it's unspoken at this point. You know, we all kind of adopt the same mentality. Yes. So it's been great, and we've been able to develop personal relationships with each other too.
When you're like-minded like that. Now, what you said is a lot of groups come and go, which is absolutely true.
Sure.
There are many, many paranormal groups. They're always starting, but a lot of them do not have the staying power. So it's good to see people that do have the staying power to actually stay with it, because it's not all fun and games. It's interesting and it can be fascinating, but it can also be quite tedious, and there's the boring part of waiting for something to happen, and then you have to go over your evidence and everything like that, evidence review. And a lot of people that are just familiar with the TV shows aren't really familiar with just what goes into this, the amount of time and effort and patience that goes into it.
That's the thing, and a lot of people get exposed to this type of thing and they're curious, and we understand that. But a lot of people, after a while, you know, maybe it doesn't meet their expectations, where there's something behind every door, and in reality,
like the fun house.
It's not like that, and you have to be very critical and objective.
Yes.
And this is, you know, kind of the way I've always been wired, where I want to come up with rational explanations if we can. So, you know, you get people who want to embrace that same methodology. And then we bring in, you know, people like Cody.
Yeah, the new generation,
because he kind of embodies that too, for a new generation investigator. Like now, there's a lot of people that have kind of been brought up on TV. So I think that everything becomes about Facebook Live videos and YouTube videos, and that's the template. But there's absolutely, as we know, much more to it than that, especially when you're in a private setting where you know, you can't talk about those things, and it's not for public consumption.
Yes,
you know, and that's how you build your resume. So we're very glad to bring Cody in about 3 years ago now. Because he sort of embraces that that type of objective thinking, and it's refreshing. It's good to see it in a younger person.
Yes, and Cody, what first sparked your interest of working with the paranormal and investigating?
Well, like most people that have gotten into this field, I had an experience when I was younger. You know, to make a long story short, when I was around 8 or 9 years old, I had woken up in the middle of the night and in my bed, and I had seen a bunch of men standing around my bed wearing tribal attire, and some of them, excuse me, were holding up masks to their face. And not only was I very curious as to why I was seeing this, because these men weren't supposed to be in my home, and I could partially see through them. So ever since that day, I started doing research on what I had seen. And looking back on it now, there could be normal explanations to what I had seen. I'm not convinced that this was a truly paranormal experience, because there is many normal explanations that it could have been. For example, lucid dreaming. But whether it was a normal experience or a paranormal experience, it absolutely knocked down that door, allowing me to step through and really hold on to it. And I've really been interested ever since, and just kept getting more interested and more involved, to the point where you know, it's pretty much a daily thing. There's not a day that goes by when I'm not thinking about this stuff.
Oh, great, wonderful. And Ken, we know you go way back with this. Your original experiences?
The first I ever had probably was when I was about 13 years old, and I had waved and made eye contact with an uncle of mine who was driving past my house. And I was just out in the front yard going about my business after school. And again, to make a long story short, my parents eventually came home a little bit later, came outside and told me that my uncle had passed that morning. And this was back in the time where you probably didn't question it. You didn't go to mom and dad, but I saw somebody go by. So that's something I sort of kept in my back pocket for years and years and years. And eventually, you know, 30 years later, 40 years later, you know, I eventually told my wife that story. But it's, that was my first exposure to the idea that there's something a little different out here.
Yes.
And it was frightening.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a case where, like, now you're like, oh, I had a wonderful experience. It was anything but wonderful. I spent the next couple of weeks just kind of looking over my shoulder saying, gee, is he coming back? Or,
well, with so many of us, we don't start out by trying to find it. It finds us.
Yeah, exactly.
And we are introduced to it in that way, and that later sparks our interest.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that's important when you understand when people invite you into their homes that are credible. These people aren't there looking for ghosts and ghost hunting. You know, they're going about their everyday business, and suddenly something amazing, something remarkable happens to them that can be a little unnerving and a little bit frightening.
Right.
And we try to put ourselves in the same sort of conditions that way they were when they were seeing it, because they're certainly not looking for it very much the same as he and I, and I'm sure yourself, when we were younger and had our own experiences. We weren't sitting there saying, gee, I wish something would happen.
Yes, right.
You know?
Exactly. Now, I have a quote from you, Ken, and I'm going to read that quote. And sometimes when you get to the truth, people get upset because they really wanted the ghost.
Right.
Now, do you mind explaining that to our audience?
Yeah, I think where it stems from in the modern day is that television. Of course, we all know that the positive of it is they brought this into our homes and people were less reticent to talk about it. They lost that stigma of it, which was good because it allowed people like us a little more access to talk to these people and visit these locations. But I think the yang to that yin is that it creates unrealistic expectations in their mind, where people see something and they identify with it.
Yes.
And they say, well, gee, that looks familiar. I have that noise. I'm having that experience. I probably have a ghost in my house too. So if you couple that with the idea that people really want to believe in this, you know, to validate their own belief systems, and they strongly want it to be, oftentimes when people like us go into a residence or any building really, and we can figure things out, it's not always met with relief. You know, when you're going into a family environment, you would think if I was able to walk away and say, I don't really believe you have anything to worry about, that's probably the best possible outcome.
Yeah.
But sometimes people just, you know, well, I'm not crazy, and, you know. So we do try to explain to them that I certainly can't put my 6 or 7 hours in your home up to the 30 that you've lived there. You know, I don't expect to say, okay, let the games begin, let it happen, I want everything to happen to me. So it doesn't happen that way, but this is why we try to remain as objective as possible. And in the end, just tell somebody the truth of what we found, whatever our conclusion is, and hopefully we'll be able to continue that, to do an actual case study rather than to just walk in for a few hours.
Right. Now, the Atlantic Paranormal Society's home team. Most people, I think, are familiar with the TV show that had a very long run. It was very popular, Ghost Hunters. And of course, the featured organization on that was TAPS, the Atlantic Paranormal Society, founded by Jason Hawes, co-founded by Grant Wilson. And they're very familiar to seeing these episodes where the group is called into a place, or they are exploring an historic place, and they go in, set up their equipment, and wait for something to happen, do all the, you know, all the setup and everything like that. And then it's a waiting game, and sometimes you get activity. But the home team, now the home team, could you explain to us why there is a home team as opposed to the TV show?
The home team is TAPS. It's founded on the building blocks that Jay created this team for. And basically, the home team stays back in New England to follow the mission of TAPS. And you know, pretty much every week we go into usually somebody's home, just like in the beginning days at the first seasons of Ghost Hunters, really revolved around clients' homes and stuff.
Yes.
So the home team is basically stuck to the core values of TAPS. And while the show was, you know, filming for production, the home team was still following up with cases in the New England area.
Right.
And then the rest of the United States and internationally is where the TAPS family falls into place.
Literally thousands, especially at the peak of popularity of the show.
Right.
You know, somebody had to handle these things.
Right. And of course, my brother and Sandra and I were members of TAPS for quite a few years, and we did see, of course, you know, going out to home cases. Most of the time we went to home cases because we were called in on them, but when the TV show started, things just mushroomed so much. I mean, we you know, the old days, and I'd get the call, dude, guess what? We've got a case this weekend, you know, but we were usually out every weekend helping somebody.
And that's the thing, you know, when you're talking generationally now, with the template being TV, where everything has to be on YouTube and the internet, and everything has to be filmed. But yet there's another part of this that is not for public consumption.
Yes. Yeah.
So you have to be, in order to really be immersed in this thing, you have to be willing to do it in obscurity.
Yes.
You have to be willing to take on certain things that you'll never be able to talk about. And do that, as well as, you know, putting yourself out for the world to see. Those are the cases that are more important, the ones that aren't for public consumption. And the ones where, you know, you're just going to be working anonymously doing it.
And that's, of course, what Sandra and I did when we formed New England Anomalies Research, so we could concentrate on the home cases. And, of course, you know, we do deal with kind of like the inhuman type of spirit sometimes, and most of these people do want to remain anonymous, you know, because it's a
multitude of reasons.
Yeah, I remember there was a friend of mine, a colleague of mine. He went to a case one night, and it turned out to be a birthday party. That they were the entertainment, but they didn't know it. They were called in as the entertainment. They thought it was a serious case. We want to see what an investigation is all around.
We've been guilty of that too, where you walk in and they have like a spread on the table, and isn't this nice for these people to feed us? And then you turn the corner and
the whole family's there.
The whole family's there, just like looking at you. It's like,
so make something happen.
I dance. You know, I don't know what to do here. But you know. But again, you know, it's
we do have some actors in the audience.
Yes, it's the yin and yang of television.
Yeah, right.
What they bring, you know, it's the positive and the negative with it as well. Yeah. Because I can tell you know, with TAPS, a lot of times somebody will call Tracy Boisel, who's the case manager, and she'll do an interview, and we'll take the case, and we'll gather up when we'll go. And open the front door, and the first thing they where's Jason, where's Grant, where's Steve, where's Tango, and it's like, no, just us, sorry.
Well, I look different on TV. It's just,
exactly.
Yeah. But, talk a little bit about the equipment that you use. Of course, you see all this equipment on the TV shows and everything, and I always make a point of this, that you really, if you really want to be a serious investigator, you don't have to break the bank.
No.
To go out and experience and record. And most of the time, this equipment that we use is not to experience, but to document the experiences. You know?
Absolutely.
So, I think there's an evolution of that, because, you know, I mean, we all go out and, again, without breaking the bank, we buy things, we try things. And then I think the thing is education more than anything, because as you start to understand what these things do, why they were designed, how they were put together and designed, and what the function is, then pretty soon you can also eliminate, you know, the false uses for those, as well as use them to, you know, augment a regular investigation.
Right. Unfortunately, there's a big misconception, especially with new people coming into this field, that, you know, they watch the shows, they see the equipment, they go on certain websites that sell the equipment, and they believe they are buying a piece of equipment that's basically a ghost hunter, a ghost detector, when all reality, you know, this equipment is just monitoring the environment. Right. And that's what we're doing. We're not hunting down for ghosts. We're observing the environment around us and looking for changes in the environment. So the first thing that all people should do when they go to buy this equipment is to learn how it works, what it actually does. Because if you take the time to do that, then you may realize that you've been wasting your money on something that doesn't really work.
I think the important thing is, you know, get off the paranormal websites. If you buy a camera, go to, you know, I don't want a product placement here, but Nikon, Kodak, find out how these things work. Talk to a professional photographer. What are camera artifacts? What do they do, what they can't do? You know, EMFs are a big thing now with the meters. Do they affect us? I don't know, go to the World Health Organization website where they do something called the EMF Project, and they have scientifically compiled data that will give you the answer. But don't rely on packaging and what things could do, because, you know, I think in this field sometimes there's a certain guilt of looking for instant gratification. We want that light to come on. We want the machine to go beep and ping. And it's all well and good. I tell everybody when we do public events, if you want to bring a voice box in, and that's fine. But we stop short of that stuff because we would have a really hard time in a private setting in a residence basing a conclusion on something that came out of a radio. Or just because a light went off. I don't think that that's, you know, really helping anything. You know, I certainly wouldn't put stock in that if there's children involved in there, and they're frightened. I'm just letting you say, oh yes, you have, you know, His Satanic Majesty is here because my light went off. So I think we got to kind of learn and evolve and back off that a little bit.
Yes, exactly. Very, very well said too. Very well said. And I must say, among all the groups, and I'm talking about in general in the entire country, and individuals too, I would say you are among the most professional that there is out there. I mean, I really...
Tremendous praise coming from you. Thank you.
I mean, you know, I've been in the, I don't want to say business, but I've been in the field for quite a while, and really I'm always impressed by you two.
Thank you. Thank you. It's like, you know, the thing I take great pride in, if I pat myself and my son David on the back for anything, and we don't really waste a lot of time doing that, but it's that we've managed to bring in really good people, you know, because you're only as good as the people who go out into the field and are able to do this. So I appreciate that very, very much.
You also are very good with home clients and in calming them and explaining what they can expect and what they may be experiencing. You have a very, very calming
experience. You know what I'm talking about. Eventually, in talking to people and things, those aren't that's not something where you just, you know, from day one you got everything down. It's you learn the tells. And those telltale signs, and you know how you want to talk to people and stuff. So it comes in time.
Now, for quite a few years, you've done more than just investigate. You also have done some excellent charity work. Now, let's talk about the Ocean State Paracon, an annual event here in Rhode Island.
That's the thing that brings a smile to my face. And of course, you and Sandra from day one, from humble beginnings, where we were down in the basement hall of a church in Woonsocket. And now that has grown to a 2-day event. And again this year, this will be the 6th annual event. Over the last 5 years, we've raised $15,000 for local charities, which is important to us because we want to make sure that all those profits get into the hands of the local charities here in Rhode Island and not just a percentage, because we are a very small state. So here we are in our 6th year coming up. I wanted to tell everybody, and thanks for the opportunity to do so. It's the 15th and 16th of July this year. Once again, it'll be at the Assembly Theater in Harrisville. And it's a unique kind of indoor-outdoor event. I call it Paranormal Farmers Market, where everybody is underneath a tent outside, and we have a 300-seat air-conditioned theater for our lecturers too, and it's just, you know, you got the lake, the waterfall, and everything.
Yes,
and it's
beautiful, beautiful,
wonderful
scenery. Very
We have a
picturesque.
couple of the people who are on the committee that are in our audience, Chris and John Krekel, and I cannot say enough about the organizing committee and the work that these people literally put in year-round for you know, to get these 2 days off the ground. So it's been wonderful.
It is all for charity too.
Yeah,
it's
100.
Wonderful charity.
Everyone volunteers
100%.
their time. You know,
So much of it is volunteer.
It's amazing. We really have a great group of people, you know, that are willing to do anything to make this work.
Yes.
And you know, the charities. Last year was the Coalition Against Domestic Violence, and you know, we were able to give them $5,000, and that money means everything to them. Every dollar that was raised for them went right back into the community and what they need it for. So they were very, very grateful for that, and it's nice. It's nice to do something to give back to the state and local community.
Yes.
Well, we've always felt that if we give everybody the opportunity and the venue, that they will come. And you know, this whole community gets together when they're given the opportunity, and every one of them. I mean, we wouldn't have an event if it weren't for our guests donating their time, coming from everywhere, the people, our vendors, you know, the public supporting it.
They do come from all over the country.
They do now, as you know, Italy, Hawaii.
Yeah,
like
international. It's
unbelievable. Yeah.
The word has gotten out.
You know, it's not much of a party unless everybody shows up. So we've always felt like we're given the opportunity for people to do something good, and they embrace it. And you know, I think it belongs to all of us.
Yeah.
That's the way we've always looked at it. We just kind of get it together. After that, we let you folks.
Right. Yeah. And of course, Harrisville, that whole setting is famous for, of course, now famous for The Conjuring.
Oh, yeah.
Which took place in, the true story took place in Harrisville, Rhode Island.
And you know that very well.
Yes, yes, I do. It's close to my heart, that tale, because you know, we know it's true, and all of us have had involvement in it with the true case, you know. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you were the first and I was the last.
Yeah, that's neat.
You know, we're like bookends of that whole thing.
And we're of the same generation too.
We are.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
We are.
And,
so, and we've gotten to know Andrea very well.
Oh yes, yeah, Andrea Perrin, good friend Andrea Perrin. She comes there every year, and it's a beautiful, beautiful Assembly Theater. That's very historic too.
Yeah,
you know, we have so many people getting up speaking, and
hopefully the weather holds out. Last year we heard about the heat.
Yes,
it's too hot.
Yeah,
folks, if you're at home, we're doing our best.
Right,
we're putting. You know, we're trying to cast spells, whatever we can do to make it as comfortable as possible.
But the thing is, it is right next to the dam there.
Yep.
The old mill dam, and it's so you do get somewhat of a breeze coming off. And hey, if there's a rain shower, congregate inside.
I want to get boats. I want to get like swan boats or something.
Oh, that'd be great.
Talk to Roger Williams Park to hook us up or something.
Excellent,
like that.
excellent. Yeah. So, is there anything you want to say about this year's Ocean State Paracon? What we can expect?
More of the same. You're going to see some of the best and brightest in the local and national paranormal fields.
Yeah.
All coming together. A lot of diverse people with different perspectives on things, and I don't want to underemphasize the presentations that are given, because it is a bit of a symposium as well. So if you want to learn more about this and different perspectives, and you know, come out to that. We're in the process of finalizing our speakers. We're just kind of getting that together right now, sending out invitations and so forth. And we have yet, I wish we could announce it here, but we have yet to select a charity for this year. So we're kind of open to that right now. But we want it to be somebody that, you know, with those amount of dollars, makes a big difference. A lot of these, there's some great advocacy groups.
Yes.
And we'd love to touch all of them, but you know, one at a time, hopefully we'll be able to reach enough people. with a cause that touches all of us. You know, maybe not yourself, but maybe a family member or somebody has been touched by some of these things, and that's very important to us.
And everybody is made to feel so welcome there.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, it's like everybody connects, and
that seems to
great
be the
way
thing.
of networking. And
That seems to be the thing above all I hear, is it's just so laid back and comfortable. You know, there's no long lines where you're waiting for a celebrity. You just walk up to somebody, they snap a picture, put their arm around you. So it's that kind of thing where everybody is just very, very casual and very relaxed and very, well, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, there's stress on us, of course.
Sure. Great deal of stress.
Up until the day it happens, the less stressful day of the year is when the gates finally open, and it's, if you've done the work and prepared, you just go.
Right.
Have at it. That's the most fun.
Yeah, it makes up for the lost sleep, right?
Exactly. Another thing I'd like to add in is something that really makes this conference unique is that it's something that you can bring the whole family to.
Yes.
Not only is there paranormal vendors and paranormal guests, but there's also vendors of all sorts. You know, jewelry makers. We had stained glass last year, and then there's food trucks that come. And it's affordable, so a family of four can easily come to this and just enjoy a nice day.
Yeah.
And some of the art is beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing.
Beautiful.
Stunning. It's like I'm amazed by the craftsmanship.
Exactly.
So, you know, very glad to have them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been great having you here. I hope you'll both come back again very soon, and I look forward to keeping in touch with you.
Anytime at all.
Now, our studio audience, anybody who would like to come up right now and meet our fine guest, Ken DaCosta, Cody Ray Desbiens, please come up now and join the group here. And again, I can't thank you enough for being here.
Thank you, Keith. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
It's great. And I look forward to working with you guys again.
Absolutely.
Anytime at all.
Dale, good to see you. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Come to the North Pole.
Where the hell's Santa?
It's not even cold in here, so that was all a myth.
Okay, so maybe their geography needs some work, but that isn't what makes the members of Rise Up Paranormal the pros that they are. It's paranormal investigations, successful paranormal investigations, that make them one of the best, if not the best crew in the business.
Hey, anybody see the ping pong ball move across the table?
No, but Mark,
You get a camera on that, right? Go back 2 minutes. There's 5 ping pong balls on the table, right?
I had them on a row.
Yeah, I'm in a row. And like, I'm standing there, I hadn't touched the table yet, and one of them breaks ranks and starts coming down the table, and I'm watching it go, and I'm looking at the camera, and I'm... Just one of them.
One of them is in the back. Really? So how do you rewind that?
I would just...
I'm not recording right now, but...
Right, you had
It's
5 in a row,
definitely-
one of them broke ranks.
Yeah.
Escaped from the rest of them
So I would
and
just
started
ratchet.
like coming across the table, and I'm just watching this thing go, and I'm like, oh, okay.
So bracket.
That's why I'm pointing at the camera like a madman.
5 minutes.
Anybody getting this?
The investigation didn't even start yet, and weird things were already happening. That is exactly why Rise Up Paranormal is at Middleborough Town Hall. The stories tell that there is a lot of paranormal activity here, and the history itself is quite interesting. Like most of eastern Massachusetts, Middleborough has a rich and long history that dates back to the 1600s. The town hall doesn't go nearly that far back, but 1873 isn't anything to sneeze at either. It was in 1872 that architect Solomon Eaton secured a contract with Middleborough to construct a new town hall. The building went up and is as impressive today as it was back in the late 1800s. However, Mr. Eaton was unable to see it through to the final stages as he died on site. In light of the ominous beginnings of the town hall, it has been occupied ever since it opened. While it houses town offices and a meeting room for the town selectmen, it was also used for dances, plays, and musicals.
The rest of the basement on the other side later too.
Yeah.
Because I want to ask her about those beams, you know how they're all charred and everything like that. I want to ask her about a fire here.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Because I don't think they would bring in charred beams from someplace else. that are kind of compromised and weak from a fire.
And they're all in that one area too.
To build a town hall. So I want to see if, I would just ask her if there was a fire here in the past.
Right.
I want to say that there was, but I don't know. Hello. My name is Ken. This is Cody, my buddy here with me. We've been here before. Some pretty interesting things we came across here, so we thought we would come back and try to talk to whoever might be here again who's willing to talk to us. But I want to start right from the beginning by asking for a woman. And there was a female here who tried to communicate to us last time, and we did appreciate it. So we were wondering if you had something else to say, or some way of communicating with us. If you want to say something, go right ahead and do that. I thought I heard you singing, which was lovely, actually. Thank you very much for that. Typically, somebody who sings is happy. We were standing right where we were last time. Is it possible that you could sing to us again? See, I don't know what that fan
Right. It's hard to tell.
does to you. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it was just different than that. We checked the round on that.
Yeah.
It's balanced. It's not touching anything. I know that these jail cells are used now for storage, which is much different than they were used many, many, many years ago. Was anybody held here before you were waiting trial? Is there anybody here that would like to make themselves known to us? It's your option. We'll listen. We're good listeners.
I'm addressing the woman that I have heard in the past, and so has my friend Ken, like he mentioned. Did you have a family member that once did time in these cells? Did you know somebody that was here? Is that why you're here?
There's someone in here with me right now. Am I in here intruding on anyone's territory? Am I somewhere I'm not supposed to be? Mind if I have a seat? You can go ahead and let yourself be known if you'd like. Is anyone here who spent any time in this jail cell? What were you incarcerated for? What was your offense? Was it anything serious?
if you can hear my voice right now and hear Ken's voice, sometimes it can be hard for us to see you and hear you. So we bring these tools that we use to help improve our senses a little bit. So this ball right here lights up all different colors. And feel free to light that ball up, give it a little push. It won't hurt you. If you feel comfortable answering a question, if it's a yes, you can feel free to light up the ball.
Cody, do me a favor, just shut me in here.
What's that?
Just shut me in here.
All right.
Like pretty much last time.
And I just want to, start again with, it's really, really hard for us to hear and see you. So whatever you do for us, we ask if you try to do it extremely loud.
We also know that you were able to have a seat up in the balcony.
That motion.
And there was another.
Yeah.
As I was saying, there's a picture of what we think is you sitting in one of the seats up in the balcony. Probably in this area here, where my red light is shining. So if you could do that again and let us capture an image of you in the seat, that would be great. We just want to know, like my friend Chris said, who you are. Okay. I hear something beeping.
There's a fan over there that on some of the turns it goes,
Okay.
like that. I wonder if I whistle for you, just like a. Could you repeat that?
We also have some objects here on the table for you. What you need to do is go close to it. One of the devices will emit a sound and light up some lights. The others are just ping pong balls for you to move. And then there's a piece on the end, right here. All you have to do is push that button and it will light up. So that's for you to try to interact with and hopefully be able to see something move on that.
And again, just in case you just came in, we're talking to any spirits, those attached to the building, this location, people who have passed on, ghosts. Again, I don't know how do you refer to yourself, but we're here to communicate with you. Maybe you're a child. We've heard that there's a little child here, maybe a girl. Maybe you like to sing and play. I'm a school teacher. I teach 12-year-olds. I spend my day interacting with kids. I would love to meet you. Is there a way you could perhaps knock some of those balls off the table? Let me know you're here?
Some type of squeaking?
Yeah, I do. I was going to mark the audio a little while ago, but it's coming. It seems like it's either coming from the dehumidifier,
yeah,
or somewhere over here, but not all the time.
Right. It's just, it's not like a pattern or anything.
No, it sounds mechanical to me.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So who's the woman that sings? Could you sing something to Cody outside, please? He's a young man, enjoys music. Do you have a song that you're fond of you want to share with us? We're not making fun of you. We would honestly love to hear you sing something. Hey. Hey, big spikes on both. But this did shut down at the same time. When that shut down, both of them spiked, so I want to keep an eye on it if it kicks back on again.
All right.
So here I am, locked in a jail cell, looking for someone to talk to. I could stand to be entertained right now. If you'd make me feel better, could you sing to me? Might help me pass the time. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be in here before I go upstairs. Did they incarcerate women and children here too? Different offenses, I know it's much different. In the time you were here experiencing this, a lot of times they did lock up children. Women, mothers. Mark audio there 10 seconds ago. Hey Cody, you hear anything weird out there? About 20 seconds ago now.
Yeah, I did. I marked something. I thought, to tell you the truth, I thought I heard a syllable or something. High pitched.
Yeah. Okay, me
I
too.
marked it.
Me too.
All right. I had my headphones on. Do you have a idea of where it came from?
Out there.
Okay.
In the hallway, outside this cell.
All right. I'm gonna take a walk down here a little bit.
Yep.
If there's anybody here, all we want to do is talk to you. Is there anything that you need to tell us? We've been asking you a lot of questions, and maybe you have some questions you want to ask us. I'm sure this looks very odd to you, what we're doing. We have all these strange tools in our hands, and I assure you that just to help us out, to hear and see you better. Everyone here tonight is here for the same reasons as Ken and myself. We want to learn about you, make sure everything's all right. I'd be happy with just knowing your name. You know our names. I think it's only fair that we know yours. I thought I just heard something. Ken, did you just hear something? It sounded like a female. Again.
No, I did not, Cody.
15 seconds ago?
No. Oh, there it is.
Heard it again.
Yep.
All right, wait a minute, I have to write this down.
I got it that time.
That was loud.
Sounded like same thing, didn't it?
Where'd you hear it coming from?
Outside, just like I did before.
Out here? Yeah.
Where did you hear it, Cal?
I had one headphone, so I think it came from this section down here. Let me grab this.
If you're trying to speak to us, we can hear you.
That was kind of loud.
Please do it again. Please do it again.
Let's try it here. All right. We heard you.
Again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I just called to you guys right now immediately after I heard it again.
You heard it again?
Yes, I did.
All right.
Listen, it sounds like it's out there, but it sounds like it would be
Right over here?
to my right.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. It's not in here with me.
Yeah.
It's out there.
Yeah, I thought I heard a couple before that loud one, and it sounded like it came from over here. Then that last one, it sounded like it came from where the books and storage articles are,
Okay.
to the right. So that's where I'm heading down there right now to see if I can get anything.
This EVP was not only picked up on everyone's equipment in the basement, but they all heard it with their own ears too.
Yeah, did you just hear something?
No, I did not.
It sounded like a female. Again. Maybe about 15 seconds ago.
No. Oh, there it is.
Heard it again.
Yep.
Yeah, did you just hear something?
No, I did not.
It sounded like a female. Again. Maybe about 15 seconds ago.
No. Oh, there it is.
Heard it again.
Yep.
Now what's interesting is we do know you're here. I mean, we're kind of past the are you here. We know you're somewhere. And maybe it's a trust thing, maybe it's an energy thing. But what we're really trying to do today is we really want to tell other people about you. And anything you can do would help us greatly. And personally, I really, really want to meet you. Whether you're the former architect, the one who started designing this building and passed away on the grounds here, whether you're a child who maybe is still roaming around because you like the plays and the people, a caretaker, perhaps someone I can't even guess. Make some noise or something. Do you miss the songs and the dancing and the plays? You do it, Joe will go dance for you.
You don't want me seeing me dancing. I'm not graceful at all.
He's a Gene Kelly of his age.
How about a woman? Is there a woman here? Ma'am, if you're here, we'd love to hear from you. And if you're a gentleman, I'm sure you had some vices when you were alive. So like Chris said, alcohol, smoking a cigarette or cigar. I have cigarettes if you'd like one. Just let me hear you say cigarette. I'll leave one for you.
If you don't know what that is, it's like a pipe with the tobacco. You just don't have to bite off the pipe stem every time it gets clogged up. Sure, that was a pain. hear it? Every time I'm like, did anyone else hear that? Or is that just me?
I didn't hear it.
Well, mark it. Sounded like it was over here. I'll just keep going. As you can tell, we're listening for every sound, every little sound. And we're like, oh, what was that? Because we think you'd really have a difficult time communicating with us.
I just thought I saw something move. I was looking up there, but in the corner of my eye, I thought I saw something move.
So, I mean, we're looking and we're listening to every little sound, so anything big you can do.
We have complete attention.
Yeah, and if the bigger the better, and just once. I'm not gonna make you repeat it 8 million times and have you go on and on. I need to know you're here. I need to meet you. We need to meet you. We really want to.
I feel like I'm actually in prison now. The first time you said that, I heard nothing. Second time, you and I both heard it loudly. I think Dan heard it too.
Yeah.
That time, I just heard female again.
Yeah.
Let's do this then. I'm just going to stay here.
Okay.
And if you want to go down the other end, go down. But that's not me talking.
Nothing.
I'm asking no questions. I'm just letting you go do your thing.
All
So
right.
I'm going to stay here.
You can give it a shot. It might be good to have a set of ears down here. Did you hear something else?
What? I thought I did, but maybe not.
Well, I definitely know that
Now I'm anticipating hearing stuff
Right.
now. You know how it is, right?
Yeah.
So I just kind of like, I don't want you guys, you know what I mean? I just want to listen.
That might be a good idea.
So I'm going to hang.
All
So
right.
go down there, check out where you thought it came from.
Yeah.
If I hear anything, I'm not going to like scream like a banshee.
Yeah. Just
But-
let us know. Dan can hear you anyway through
Yeah.
your mic. You know?
All right,
You
good.
don't even have to talk loud. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you can either answer them right here, or you can tell the answer to my friend Ken.
Ken, I just got that off your microphone.
Do you hear that? Like a freaking scream?
Yes, I heard it on your microphone.
All right, I'm getting like, yeah, I'm getting a little,
All right.
I'm good, but that just like,
All right. All right. I'm going to stay right here. Let me get my stuff. Wait a minute.
that was in here with me.
Ken sent Cody to the adjoining cell to see if there were any compressors or air tanks or anything that has a release valve on it. Cody found nothing.
Yeah, I've been hearing stuff back there.
Are we correct? Are you up on the stage now?
Do you want me to look this way? Is that what you're trying to say?
When you're setting off our devices, the lights light up and things pass in front of it. Could you perhaps turn one of them on now for us, please? Thank you. How about the other side? Are you able to affect the other piece?
Yeah, can you move that one over there? I think maybe if you move the curtain a little bit, it might go off. I'm not sure how you're setting it off, but could you set the other one off? I just saw some movement underneath the door,
Down on the left?
the main door.
Huh?
Damn it, we don't have a camera on either. Are you outside the door? Could you walk by it? we can kind of see the light through it, so if you walked by it, we'd see, I swear to God, the whole bottom just, Could you whistle out there? A few weird things happened. We heard a couple of noises that we marked. We definitely had some weird interaction with the motion sensors and the lights on the stage, so we'll have to review that to see if any interference with the walkie-talkies caused it or what, and we're hoping maybe another session will experience it too. I did see one shadow underneath the door. We'll have to keep an eye out on that. Unfortunately, the one camera that we couldn't get working today was the one on the door. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye out for that, and hopefully we picked up some EVPs. So I think it was a great session.
With all the voices that Ken and Cody experienced, they immediately started listening to the recorders once the first session was done.
2340.
Is what we think is what we're calling the scream.
Right now, when this starts playing, you're going to hear me saying, "Did you just hear something?" It sounded like a female, and then it happens. 2340.
All right.
Time is right here.
This is on this mic, right?
Yeah. Ken, did you just hear something?
No, I did not.
It sounded like a female. Again. Maybe about 15 seconds ago.
No. Oh, there it is.
Start it again.
Yep.
Let me back it up a little bit. It sounded like a female. Again. Maybe about 15 seconds ago.
No. Oh, there it is.
Start it again. One more time.
Yep.
You know what? It still sounds like a sing-song.
Right, it does, like a
The first time we were here, recorded a woman's voice sounded like it was singing. So this happened multiple times the first time we were here, so we wanted to go down once again and approach it from that line of questioning. And again, at least on 3 occasions, we heard the voice. One with Cody hearing it, that I didn't. Second, we both heard it, and the third time I did, followed by what sounded like a very high-pitched yelp or a scream or something like that from inside the room. We're pretty sure that there was no pressure release valves or anything like that going on. It's the second time that this has happened. In both occasions, I've had the door shut in the cell. That may be coincidental, but it's a different type of sensation for anybody who's ever had a door slam behind them, even though you know you can walk out whenever you want to and you're not there for any offense. There is still the question of your mind starting to wander a little bit, like who was in here, what were they in here for, what was the offense, how bad was it, what happened to them? Because back then, even children were incarcerated for stealing an apple because they were hungry or something like that. There wasn't much leniency. So the very fact that there are 3 cells down there signifies to me that they were pretty busy. You know, and I'm sure that everything wasn't murder or some kind of capital offense. I'm sure that there was some pretty relatively tame type of things going on, but back then the law was much different and much less forgiving. So we're curious to see what we picked up down there.
The other piece of evidence that was found in that first basement session was the scream Ken heard while sitting in the cell. Cody never heard it, but I did through the mic that Ken was wearing.
Talk to me. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you can either answer them right here, or you can tell the answer to my friend Ken. Right here. Right here.
Ken and Cody kept quiet on their findings in the basement so that Chris, Julie, and Steve would not go in there with predetermined notions.
All that space.
Okay. Round number 2.
I am dying to hear what they come back with after that session down there.
I'm very interested.
That'll be phenomenal. I say, who's going? Steve, Julie, and Chris, right?
Joe's, right? Oh, no,
Joe's at base. I'm wagering that Steve wants to go into jail cell.
You coming in? You getting locked in? I can go in for a little bit if you want. Don't matter to me. Oh, it's definitely going to be a... It's hot. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, definitely turn that off. Oh, almost killed myself. Quarter doesn't fall over.
I don't think we can turn that off.
Boxes that collapse in. Anybody in here with us tonight? My name is Steve. I haven't been down here yet. I know some people say they hear voices in here. Can you tell me your name? Hey, Julie, were you talking to anybody about maybe a minute ago? I know you walked away that way.
I talked to Chris for 2 seconds.
Okay, maybe it was you then. Okay.
Find me.
Okay, all right.
Well, hello. Very nice to be back here again. The last time we were here, someone was so kind to respond to some whistling, some singing. I know that this particular place hosted a great many plays, musicals. So what I'm hoping is that someone is here who feels an attachment to the location, enjoyed these times that we're here, someone who appreciates the arts. If you appreciate good singing, we can't promise anything there. But I know of all the functions that they had here. A lot of them were holiday festivals and so forth, recitals. I'm sure a lot of children come here for Christmas plays, things of that nature. So to that end, my friend Cody was nice enough to bring something you may be interested in. It's a little dog up on the stage, and you are welcome if anyone wants to come over and try to pick him up or give him a hug. You're welcome to do that. We brought that for you tonight. So if there's any children here at all, or anyone really who would like to go over and see him and curious about him, we just want to let you know that it's there for you tonight. We're just trying to extend some friendship to you, some goodwill, to let you know we're here with the deepest respect for you. So above all, we want to give you the opportunity, if you'd like to speak to us, let your presence be known. We're here to listen. Excuse me. Can you see and hear us right now, sitting up on this stage? Could you just let us know? Could you acknowledge that? You can see and hear us?
Maybe you should
try whistling again?
Yep.
See what happens?
Can you whistle something back to me? I don't mind beginning. Can you return that to me? We have no intent of running after you. We'll just sit on the stage. If you'd like to let yourself be known or show yourself to us in some way, you're welcome to do that. Okay, that's the fourth time. I keep seeing that third window over there.
Well, while you were talking there, I marked something. I don't know what it was.
See that big cathedral window, the third one? The one closest to us? It's like four times. No, on the floor.
Oh, okay.
Third one, closest one to us.
Oh, okay.
4 times. I didn't say anything, but it's like something moves in front of that. If I turn away and I move toward it, like, and I see it again, then I know it's just, I don't know, maybe it's just my eyes adjusting to it or something.
I'll take any information that you're willing to share. Why you were in here, what year you were here. Why you stayed here. Mark audio. Chris, did you just hear, like, whining almost? Did you hear anything out there?
No, I was looking through the tax evaluation books from 1861.
It sounded like whimpering. Like whimpering. I just marked on the audio about 15, 20 seconds ago. I know you and Julie weren't whispering to each other, or no?
No, we weren't talking.
I hope I caught it. Em, if you can hear me, can you walk over to Julie and say hello to her? She wants to know who you are too. Somebody above us. Joe, is there somebody above us walking?
No, I'm in this room.
Does this make this motion detector go off? Because the motion detector just went off.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, the walkie-talkie does.
The walkie will make that go off?
Yeah, sometimes.
I'll try it again. I thought the footsteps were above me.
I was right here looking at this. I don't know if this would move. I was just trying to figure out where the fire stopped.
Could you repeat that, Joe? Was anybody above me?
No, the only one that's upstairs is Ken and Cody, and Dan's walked around and Cody walked to the other side of the theater.
Hey Steve, this is Cody. Can you hear me?
What was that, Cody?
Yeah, we're on the second floor. You're in the basement, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right, I'm gonna walk around just like I did, I don't know, about a couple minutes ago now, and let me know if you hear anything.
The footsteps Steve heard were not coming from up on the second floor. Ken and Cody decided to take their investigation backstage.
I knew there was a way up here somewhere. What a squeaky voice.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we're going the right way. Maybe it was Bruce. Okay, we've stepped back away. Would anybody like to go and pick up the dog? Yeah, the stage is yours now. Pick up the dog, roll the ball on the floor. Theater's yours.
Things got quiet towards the end of session 2 for both groups. Ken had his mind on the movement he saw earlier by the window.
Left to right, like coming toward us. 3 or 4 times. You know, the first couple, meh. Third time, got my interest. Fourth time, definitely had my attention.
So was this session pretty quiet compared to that first one?
Well, we got voices. First time in, we got the whistle back, which we managed to record. And that was great, because that showed definite communication, it showed an awareness of us, and it showed an interaction. So that was unusual, and I thought with that maybe music. Maybe that's the thing. But I didn't hear anything tonight, so unfortunate, because I was looking forward to that.
The next session had everyone in the town selectman room. Well, almost everyone. Pirate Chris was finding his way up to the bell tower in search of hidden treasures.
Yeah. If there's a treasure chest up here, I'm not opening it, I'm telling you that much. So don't even ask. That's not really very sturdy here. You got it? It's weird. It's like the roof of the... Ooh. This is odd. This is the camera guy.
Hey, what's up?
That I'm taking on an adventure. Not to a crow's nest.
See this shadow that's cast on the wall?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw something moving.
Okay.
So on the wall or in the window, like over here?
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
It looked like somebody walked across. Because I can see Ken moving.
Yeah, you can see Ken, right?
But this was bigger.
Have you raised children in this town? What's the place where Cody? Have you raised children in this town?
After it was discovered that the shadow on the wall was actually Cody and not the least bit paranormal, Rise Up held one last session before calling it a night.
Well, I'm back again. And just me, my friend. I really wanted to come back just to say goodbye because we're going to be leaving soon. Let me go past it. And I felt like you were here with me when I was talking to you before. So everyone else went downstairs to talk to a woman that they think they're hearing.
I'm going to address the woman here. Ma'am, your singing is extremely pleasant. We thank you very much for sharing that with us, but I wanted to ask you, are you in any kind of distress of any type? Not sure why you remain here? If there's intent on your part to allow us to hear you, I just want to let you know that you've been successful. It's working. We can hear you. We appreciate it. Very, very pleasant singing voice. But if there's anything we can do to help you, then we want to offer our assistance to you. Now, before we leave here this evening, could you just let yourself be known to us again? Would you mind terribly if we came back and visited you one more time?
We thank you for trying to talk to us tonight. We appreciate it. Like Ken said, we're not going to be here too much longer. Just wanted to kind of say goodnight, and if you had anything else you wanted to say to us, now's your chance to do it. We're paying attention to you.
Okay, almost all of us came down here tonight to wish you well, to say goodnight. We'd like to hear from you one more time if we could. It would make our evening complete.
I made it up to the top of the bell tower. It's a pretty cool place. Have you been up there? Probably doesn't look like what it did when you saw it. Hey, you can help me out too. We're going to leave and I have to open up all these shades again, these shutters. Can you open up some of them for me? Help me out? Maybe one of them? I would consider that a great goodbye. I consider that a way of telling me that I met you. You know, they heard a lady downstairs crying or sounding sad. They're down there right now talking with her, trying to talk to her, a spirit. Do you know this lady? She's someone you're familiar with? someone you don't let come up here?
Whose voice is that? Male. Male, deep voice. Male, deep voice. And we came down here to say goodnight, so we would appreciate it if you can do the same. If you'd like to say something, if you'd like to sing something, if you have anything to say at all, we're listening. I'm afraid we're going to have to walk away, though.
Evidence? Oh yeah, we got plenty of that. You heard some already, but let's take it from the top so you can listen to everything. At the beginning of the show, you heard Ken talking about a ping pong ball moving on the table in the auditorium. Here is their DVR footage. You can see the ball moving, and Ken trying to get the attention of anybody at home base. So did Ken unknowingly disturb the table, causing one ball to break ranks? I don't know. Was this paranormal? I don't know. That's up to you to decide. This one was off of Julie's camera. Cody was setting up equipment in the cell, and of course I got in the way. You could clearly hear a voice though saying, "Who's out there?" The next piece of evidence stars everybody's favorite new member of Rise Up Paranormal, Mr. Pickles the dog. Don't laugh. I hear he's getting his own booth at the Rhode Island Paracon in July. Anyway, he was left alone on the stage, no crew in the auditorium, and the motion sensor lights on either side of him kept going off. Ken says they have no idea why or how they were being activated.
You were active before when I was up here. You were active before when I was up here.
The female voice you hear at the beginning is Leilani Dalpe, the Middleborough select woman who got Rise Up into Town Hall. After she states to a spirit she hopes is there that they were active before she got there, you hear a breathy response. During this whole episode, you heard a lot about the singing female in the basement. Here she is again, for a sort of encore.
Mark audio.
You heard Ken whistling earlier in the auditorium. He didn't get a response when he called for one after he was done, but the whistling spirit was heard from later in the evening.
I heard something.
Would you like to sing something to us?
Again. Again. Again.
Ken took the scream that he and I both heard through his microphone while sitting in the cell. He cleaned it up best he could. The problem is that it comes while Cody is talking.
I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you can either answer them right here, or you can tell the answer to my friend Ken. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you can either answer them right here, or you can tell the answer to my friend Ken. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you can either answer them right here, or you can tell the answer to my friend Ken.
The town hall is the second location in Middleborough, Massachusetts that we plan on returning to. Count on it. Thanks for watching Rise Up Paranormal's investigation of Middleborough.
In spring of 2015, Rise Up Paranormal held their second annual bowling event, despite Joe Chin still being missing. People who attended the event claimed they had witnessed a short, white, ghostly apparition that resembled Joe appearing throughout the bowling alley. Rise Up Paranormal has decided to return to the bowling alley to see if there is any truth to these claims and investigate what has been reported. What you are about to see is pretty scary and may cause nightmares. Viewer discretion is advised.
Alright, so this is Steve and Cody. We're upstairs at the bowling alley where we've had all of our past events. And this year we're going to have another one, 2 this year, and we've actually heard some reports of what's been going on. Steve, do you know anything about
people have been seeing Joe supposedly running through the halls, and I'm real excited to be back and see if we can get some answers and see if we can find them. And what was that?
I have no idea.
Let's go take a look. Door's moving over here.
I wonder what that was.
Sounded like a door.
It sounded like that door closed.
I definitely heard the door, but there's nobody in here.
There's nobody.
No.
Alright, Ken thinks we should just grab a few of the team while we're here and just see what's going
Let's
on.
grab some equipment. Let's do a session.
Alright,
Yeah.
let's try it out. Alright. EVP session, this is Cody.
And Steve?
And Wendy.
We're upstairs at the bowling alley, hoping to talk to someone tonight, if there's anyone here. We have these letters. We're going to be asking you some questions. Please feel free to use the letters to answer us.
Whoever's here, could you spell out your name?
Hey, look, the letters are moving. It's me, Joe. Joe? How do we know it's really you, Joe?
What is that god-awful smell?
I know. What is that?
I don't know. What's he spelling?
I farted.
Oh, yeah, that's Joe. All right.
Joe.
That's typical. Yep.
Huh. There's definitely activity going on here.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely something going on here. Yeah.
Probably the best thing we should do is have another bowling event. Let's see if we can trigger some more activity.
Yeah.
Really good idea.
We can do it Friday night, July 17th.
That sounds great.
Yeah, good.
Good idea.
Good.
All right.
You heard the man. Brought back by popular demand, join Rise Up Paranormal and the OSPC Charitable Fund for a fun night of bowling on Friday, July 17th at the AMF Bowling Lanes in Cranston, Rhode Island. Bowl with some of your favorite paranormal people as we kick off the Ocean State Paracon weekend and raise money for the Wounded Warrior Project. Admission is $20, cash at the door. Price includes shoe rental. Food and drinks available. For more information, contact Julie DeMay at 774-644-9717.
What is it that makes a place haunted? Is it a cold chill? A loud bang in the middle of the night? Or is it something more? Something unseen? 2012 is here with a brand new season of Chasing the Unknown. For more information, visit your public television station's programming schedule or visit www.attleboroughparanormal.com.